Hi guys, do not be quick to comment if you have not watched this video from start to finish. Before the end of this video, I'm going to tell you which category of people should travel to a place like Canada. Stay with me. Every time you do videos like this, be sure to see comments of people telling you to come back home if you feel it's not good enough. Why are you still there if you claim it is not good enough? So yes, those comments are definitely going to come because some things are better experienced, as like the weather in Canada. No matter how somebody tries to tell you how it feels like, you do not really appreciate it till you get to experience it yourself. Now, this video says do not come to Canada if you are stable back home. And the underlined word is stable, okay? Because it is not worth it. Honestly, it is not worth it. If you are stable back home, if you have a good job back home, if you have built your house, if you have a number of cars, if you are well established, if you own a business, probably you have house helps, you have a driver, you have people around you helping and supporting you. You know, that is so much luxury you have there that you have no idea of. Trust me, the percentage of people in Canada who live that kind of lives may not be up to 10. Who have house helps living with them 24/7, who have drivers driving them to and fro wherever they would go. That is luxury. You are living a luxurious life back home. Do not worry yourself to come to Canada because you cannot afford that luxury here. Now, there's this story of a medical doctor who had his own hospital, his own house, he had cars and all that, and he sold everything and relocated to Canada. And, you know, he was disappointed. He was so disappointed, and he kept saying it is not worth it. It is not worth it. And for somebody like that to tell you it is not worth it, of course, he is comparing who he was back home to how things were when he came here. If you are back home and you make anything between $1,000 and $2,000 monthly, it means that you'll be able to save a substantial amount of that money, because things that are very costly here, like rent, do not cost that much back home. If you earn around $3,000 here, the probability that you are paying over $1,000, that is even for a single person for rent, is very high. And if you're a family, like you have a wife and children, that means that you are renting a place like a 2-bedroom. You are likely to pay almost everything you earn a month in rent alone. Yes, if you make that kind of money back home, if you make anything between $1,000 and $2,000 back home, it means that you have a lot more money on you at the end of the month, because you can do so much with that money. I mean, the things that makes us want to travel, the quality of healthcare, the quality of schools and all that makes us want to travel, it is not because there's no quality healthcare back home, except that it is not affordable. It is not because there are no quality schools back home, it is because it is not affordable. So if you are earning that amount of money, then you have the affordability. You can afford it. You can afford the quality back home. So it really is not worth it for you to leave all that and travel. And one thing that many of us do not even realize till we get here is how difficult it is for professionals to integrate into the Canadian system. It is so difficult. It is so difficult for professionals who come from places like Africa, medical doctors, nurses, lawyers, and all pharmacists and all these people. It is very difficult for them to integrate into the system here and be working in their various professions. So somebody who has been trained in a medical field, doing so well in the medical field, back home in Africa comes here and you cannot work as a medical doctor. What you have to go through to work as a medical doctor might even discourage you. So, but you have bills to pay. You get it? You have bills to pay. In as much as you cannot work in your field, you still have bills to pay. And many of them end up doing Uber. Yes, because that is one of the easiest things to do once you have a driving license and you buy a car. But then you realize that that is not who you want to be. You do not want to be an Uber driver. The job satisfaction is not there. And that is when they start regretting. I mean, was this worth it? Was this move worth it? One day I had a conversation with two individuals. One was a lecturer who had relocated from Ghana to Canada, and the other was a taxi driver who had also relocated to Canada. And you realize that these two people will not give you the same reaction. These two people will not give you the same feedback of Canada, because if you look at what they were back home, one was more stable than the other. So the lecturer who had relocated to Canada was complaining and letting out his frustrations of how disappointed he is and how he has to do pull and push. That was his own words. Somebody who was lecturing, who was okay back home, comes to Canada and he's now working in an environment that he has to be pulling and pushing things, and it's giving him so much backache, and he needs to be on his feet for 8 hours and all that, and he has regretted so much and he wants to go back home. The guy who was a taxi driver in Ghana asked me, Edwina, have you also regretted for coming? And I said, no, I haven't regretted for coming. And he said, me too. I haven't regretted for coming. I haven't regretted at all, because what if I compare what I am making here to what I was making in Ghana? What I am making here is way beyond what I am making in Ghana. I am able to give my wife so much. My children are happy and all that. So guys, you see, this guy, the lecturer, had a more comfortable life back home in Ghana. He was stable in Ghana. He had the luxury that I'm talking to you about in Ghana. For all you know, he had accommodation provided by the university where he was teaching, and this person comes here and has to work in an unfriendly environment compared to what he was doing back home. He has to do manual work, which involves his body and gives him so much backache. He has to be on his feet for 8 hours to earn that money. The change is drastic. You get it? And then the taxi driver. He was a taxi driver back home. He was already breaking his back home. So for such a person, when they come here, it's an elevation, because the work is still hard. Yes, they were doing the hard work back home. It is still the same hard work they are doing here, but the value of the money here is more than the value of the money they were earning back home. So these two people will never give you the same feedback. That is why when you want to travel, ask somebody within your category, or ask somebody who you share the same or similar status with. If you're a lecturer and you ask this taxi driver, how is Canada? He will tell you it is good. I earn so much and all of that. But if you ask the lecturer, he will tell you that, my dear, you may not want to come. You may want to reconsider, because the work here is body draining. It is energy draining. And I do not think that is something you would want to do. Mind you, anyone who went to school to study to that level, to become a medical doctor or to become a lecturer or a lawyer or a pharmacist, is not somebody who wants to work in a place that they involve so much physical work. There was also an instance where a young man, I know when he watches this video, he will know I'm talking about him. He came to Canada, and when you come first, I'll do anything. I will do anything. And then he go work and went for the first shift, came home and was sick for 2 weeks because he is not used to that kind of work. He is not used to such physical demanding jobs. He has never worked in any such physically demanding job back home in Ghana. He is here for school, but you are in school, you still want to be earning on the side. So he got a job and went, and the only once that he went to work and he came back home, he was sick for 2 weeks and he had to stop because he said, I am going to die. If I go again, I am going to die. I cannot do this. And he said that he is sure people who are used to this kind of work back home will make so much, because it was a 12-hour shift. Imagine working 12 hours a day, okay? And if you have a work permit and you have unlimited time to work and you have a 12-hour shift, that will be so much money. But it will be so much money, it will be okay for somebody who is already used to that kind of physical labor or physical job back home. Okay, so that brings me to who should travel to Canada. If you have followed the conversation till now, I'm sure you've had an idea of what I am driving at. It is not for this traveling journey, it's not for people who are very comfortable, not for people who are used to earning so much but not doing so much, because the system here, you earn but you will work. And the luxury that so many of us, an average person in Ghana, can afford a house help. It is not the case here. The support of family, if you travel alone, that is a topic for another day. The family support we have back home is something you might not value until you travel. Okay, if you have little children and you need help, you have no idea how it feels to have to be a mother in a place like here with little children and no help. Traveling is good. Traveling opens your mind. That is why they say travel and see, or travel and learn. So when you travel, you learn. You learn so much. Anyone who is well traveled, you would know. If somebody is well traveled, even if they have not attended so much school, you realize that they have learned so much because of how well traveled they are. So it is good to travel, but if you are traveling to come and hustle, then you should know that you need to be someone who can hustle. It's either you are already a hustler back home, so that when you come here, the work it's not so different from what you are used to, okay? But you earn more in terms of the value of the dollar. You are going to earn more because the situation of the taxi driver, for instance, for all you know, the whole month he was earning less than, say, $150 to $200 a month in Ghana. But if he comes here and he has a work permit, minimum wage, and he's earning even around $2,800 a month, and he's able to live on a $2,000, he has $800 to save. If he is able to send his family only $300 out of that money, they would be very happy. And within a short time that he will live here, what he has not been able to achieve back home, he will achieve it within a very short time because of how much valuable the dollar is when sent back home and changed into the home currency. You get it. So that is what it is. For people who work in areas like IT, it is also good for them because they are able to get work. They are able to get work in the same field and also work. I have a friend who is a software developer who tells me that when my 3 years stay in Canada, what I was not able to do in 30 years back home, I have been able to do. So you see, it depends on your field. It depends on your area. And for even people like I who work in IT, there are some of them who can even get, if you are in Ghana and you can get an employer from, say, the USA, imagine earning in dollar and spending cedis. So guys, that is what it is. If you are a hustler back home, then you should want to travel, okay? it will be easier for you to adapt and adjust, because that is already what you are doing. You are a graduate, you have completed school, and you are not getting work to do, and you are home, you are unemployed 1 year, 2 years, and you're just struggling back home to make ends meet. You would also want to look at travel, because yes, no matter what it is, there is dignity in labor here. You will get something to do and you will earn something significant, rather than being back home and not doing anything. So yes, for those who should not travel are those who are stable. Okay, so somebody will say, what percentage of Ghanaians are, what percentage of Nigerians are? Yes, I am talking to them. That percentage, if it's 1% or 2%, they are the ones I am talking to, not to, because they always get so disappointed. It is nothing like the luxury they have back home. They wouldn't have it here. They cannot afford it here. Okay, you cannot afford that luxury here. But if you are not that stable, if you are just trying to find your feet, if you are hardworking already, if you are hustling already, if you are breaking your back already back home, I am not saying that it is only when you travel that you would make it. What I am saying, that if you are breaking your back already back home, if you are that hardworking back home, it means that when you travel, you'll be able to make it at a shorter time compared to how long it will take for you to make it back home, because of the value of the dollar against whatever currency you are spending back home. I know this video has been all over the place, guys, but I hope you understand what I am trying to communicate. Thank you so much for staying with me. In order not to miss my next video, kindly subscribe and turn on your notification bell, so that when I upload my next video, you will be notified and will not miss it. See you in my next video. Bye.